Do you think about taking care of your saddle equipment? Has it ever crossed your mind? Well, today that's kind of what we're discussing. It's off-season care for your saddle hunting equipment, from our saddles to the ropes to the knickknacks. First of all, I hope everybody had a wonderful season, and this is something that I am not good and consistent with as well. So here are the steps that I'm taking this year going forward for the following years on my off-season saddle care. First things first, it comes down to inspecting your equipment. So we have a handful of things we can inspect. First of all, we can inspect our saddle, and there's multiple pieces on the saddle we can inspect. We can inspect our ropes, whether that be our linemen's or our tether ropes, and we can also inspect our straps for our sticks and our platforms. So the first thing we're going to look for in any of this stuff is excessive wear, punctures, or tears. The main concern point on a saddle would be the stitching on the main frame of the body. So that would be, in this case, like the Venatic, you have the upper panel and the lower panel of the Venatic that you need to be inspecting some stitching. If there's a lot of stitching that's missing, or if there's some punctures or tears, it might be time to get a new saddle. But in this case, this one has seen a handful of seasons, is still in wonderful condition. We do have some tears on the accessory pouch, but that is just cosmetic, so we're not too worried about that. One area I see people concerned about quite often when they're inspecting their gear is the berry inside of Amsteel popping out of the weave. And that is really no concern at all when it comes to safety. If it's something that just bugs your eyes, you can easily start working this Amsteel back and forth to where the weave gets loose again, and you can put that berry back inside of itself. Other than that, again, big tears, like if you see an actual weave strand completely cut, that could bring forth some cause of concern. One of the things we should also be inspecting on the bridges is the knots. This, in this case, is a 6-wrap Swabish. We just want to make sure it's all dressed up nicely, so when we go to hunt next year, it's nice and safe and ready to go. Another thing people might be concerned about with their saddles when they get stains from blood after a successful hunt, or any type of smell that might be accumulated throughout the season. An easy way to get this done and taken care of and removed would be to wash it, but not in a washing machine. Rather, you should hand wash them. An easy way to do this is just get a 5-gallon pail, get some mild detergent, or you can use Dawn dish soap. If it's good enough for the ducks, it's good enough for your saddle, and give it a good hand washing. When the hand washing is complete, it may not take all of the stains out, but really it's just, that's a cosmetic look. But it should remove all of the smell, and you need to get it dry. Saddles should be air dried, so don't throw it into a drying machine. When you're done hand washing them, just hang them up on a stringer or something like that, out of the light preferably. And even when it comes to storing, we want to keep it in a nice dry place out of the sunlight.
Probably wouldn't hurt to rinse the soap off, but I'm leaving it.
Not in the back of your pickup truck, not on a windowsill. If you want something to last a long time, we got to take care of it. So once your saddles have completely air dried, you can then take them and put them into either your mobile gear tote or just some tub from Menards or Walmart or wherever you get your stuff from, and it's good to go until next season. Nice and clean, fully inspected, no rips or tears, punctures. You can feel safe and ready to go for next year. While your saddle is air drying, we can be inspecting our ropes, our linemen's and our tethers. Think of this similarly to the Amsteel bridge we were just talking about. If you see peach fuzz wear on these ropes, on the exterior of these ropes, that's nothing to be concerned about. That's just a little bit of use. And the main thing we want to be looking out for is cuts and some major wear. So if you're starting to see some of these weave patterns cut completely, strands completely cut, that might be time to be concerned. Also, if the core has popped out and is getting excessive wear from the core, that might be concerning. Otherwise, the core sometimes pops out on these eyelets when you're tethered off to the tree. So all we need to do is sometimes dress them back up, push the core back into the weave. You can either use hockey tape to keep it dressed up nice and clean so it doesn't pop out in the future, or if you want to just leave it as is, it's good to go. We can also wash our ropes the same way, similarly as our saddles. We can throw them into a mild detergent or Dawn dish soap and wash them by hand, let them hang dry, air dry as well, and then once they are fully dry, we can throw them into the tub for next year. When we come to the mechanical side of some of these things, in this case, this is the Wild Country Ropeman 4. Quick things that I personally would inspect is to make sure that the spring action is still working properly, that there's no gummy up or nothing like that. Same goes for our carabiners. Make sure that the springs are working properly, that the lock is moving fluidly so you can lock yourself in nice and safe. No huge nicks, bends, or cuts, which I'm not sure how you'd get a cut in a carabiner or in your cinders, but make sure they're not there. And if they are, it might be time to be a little concerned. Otherwise, you can give it a little mineral oil or something like that to keep it well lubed up, not scentless preferably. And once you're done with your rope being all clean, dried, and your mechanical items nice and lubed up and ready to go, go ahead and throw them into the tub and we're ready to go. We're going to be inspecting our straps and our am steel attachment methods for our sticks. In this case, this is a daisy chain. This is our buckle straps. Buckle straps, again, making sure our springs are nice and springy, and then we're gonna look for excessive wear on the nylon straps. So again, peach fuzz is nothing to be concerned about, but if we see a tear from a knife maybe or anything like that, that's when we need to start being a little concerned about our equipment and maybe getting it replaced. In this case, this strap has been used a handful of times. It's kept away from knives and everything else, and it's good to go. Again, storing in a tub out of the sun, dry, best case scenario for storage. Am steel, same scenario. Peach fuzz is fine. You just want to make sure that these strands, these weaves, that they're not cut anywhere. And if you don't see any bad inspection points and you only see peach fuzz, you know you can probably run it without any concern in the near future. Lastly, we can inspect our platforms and our sticks. And these are probably the quickest and easiest thing to inspect. The first thing I would do if it was me, I'm gonna give it a quick shake test because that's gonna tell you if any of your bolts or your systems have gotten loose. And that's really the main thing we're gonna check, especially on our sticks, is to make sure our bolts, even though they have a lot of them have like nylon washers or Loctite or any of that type of thing, we're gonna make sure that they're tight. We're gonna make sure that the Versa button on this stick particularly doesn't have any huge chips or cracks, and then we're going to make sure that we haven't run this over with a vehicle plainly. Make sure that your structural integrity is good, and once you decide that is good, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to store it away for the rest of the season. As far as platform goes, pretty simple. We're going to check our Versa button, make sure the plastic isn't cracking. We're going to make sure that there is no cracking in the aluminum casting as well. We're going to check to make sure that our bolts are nice and snug, maybe make sure that the nylon washers in between haven't disappeared, and just making sure it looks like it hasn't been run over by a semi-truck. It's a pretty simple concept to check out real quick and really very little concern otherwise. And that's it for the platforms. That's pretty much it for all of our stuff. Additionally, when storing your equipment, and especially your packs, and we're putting them in these tubs or our mobile gear tote, make sure we remove all of the food type material out of it from the snacks that we may have had while hanging in the tree. We don't want to attract any vermin if you're storing your stuff in a garage or a barn or something like that. So make sure we try and get all of that food out of there as well. So that's really the gist of it. I hope this has helped you a little bit. If we take care of our things, they're going to last for many, many, many years to come. So don't be afraid to inspect them. This whole process may take you a grand total of 20 minutes to inspect your equipment, to give it a hand wash if necessary, and let it hang dry and throw it in a storage container out of the sunlight. So I hope, again, this has helped you. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below or message us on any of our social media platforms, and we'll try to get back to you and help you as best we can. So stay warm out there. It's cold. I'm going back in my office, start editing this video. See you guys.